You ever look in the mirror and feel like you're faking it? Like no matter what you've achieved, your job, your friends, your life, something still feels off? Empty? Like somehow you're just not enough. Maybe you laugh at the right times, post the right photos, say the right things, but when you're finally alone, the silence is loud. And you start to wonder, do I even like myself? Or am I just really good at pretending? Most people think self-hate looks like crying every night or screaming into a pillow. But the truth? It's way more quiet than that. It hides in your habits, in your thoughts, in how you treat yourself when nobody's watching. This video isn't just about depression or low self-esteem. It's about the 7 subtle signs you might secretly hate yourself and not even know it. And yeah, I said secretly because most of us don't walk around saying, I hate myself. But our behavior tells another story. If any of this sounds familiar, stick around, because recognizing these patterns might be the first time you actually start to break them. And hey, by the end, you're not just going to feel called out. You might feel understood. Let's start by getting one thing clear. Self-hate doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. And those whispers can change your entire life. So what does self-hate actually look like? Because it's not always what you think. It's not always, I hate myself, written in bold letters. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's even socially acceptable. It shows up when you make a mistake and immediately call yourself stupid out loud. When someone compliments you and you immediately deflect it with a joke. When you push yourself to burnout because resting makes you feel lazy. It's in those moments you probably don't even question. You just think, that's how I've always been. But deep down, that behavior is shaped by one quiet, dangerous belief. I don't deserve better. And here's where it gets tricky. Self-hate hides behind things that look good on the surface. Humility, perfectionism, even humor. You say you're just hard on yourself or that you don't want to get cocky, but really you can't stand the idea of feeling good about who you are. Self-hate is not about being honest with yourself. It's not self-awareness. It's self-punishment. And the worst part? A lot of people don't realize they're doing it because it's been their normal for so long. Think about it. How often do you scroll through social media, see someone living their best life, and instantly feel worse about yourself? You don't even have to think the words. Your brain just starts subtracting value from your own life without permission. Or maybe you've told yourself, if I just work a little harder and lose a little weight, hit that next milestone, then I'll feel good enough. And every time you reach it, the bar moves. That's not motivation. That's self-hate with a good PR team. At the root of self-hate is one brutal belief. I'm not enough. Everything else grows from there. The overthinking, the people-pleasing, the inability to rest, the harsh self-talk. It all stems from a fractured view of your worth. And here's the thing. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means you learn to survive by turning against yourself. Somewhere along the way, your brain decided it was safer to be your own critic than to risk rejection from others. That's not weakness. That's a coping mechanism. But the problem is, surviving isn't the same as living. And at some point, those patterns start to cost you everything you actually want. Peace, connection, joy, love. So to really see how self-hate works in real life, let me tell you a story. Let me introduce you to Rachel. Rachel had the kind of life that made people say, she's doing great. She had a stable job, a couple close friends, paid her bills, posted smiling photos. Her Instagram looked happy. Her texts had emojis. Her voicemail said, hey, leave a message, with a smile you could hear. But Rachel had a secret. She hated herself. Not in an obvious way. She didn't walk around saying, I'm garbage. But the self-hate showed up in smaller, quieter moments. Moments no one saw, like staying up until 3 a.m. because sleep felt like a waste of time, or rereading a text 5 times before sending it, or saying yes when she wanted to scream no because she was scared people would leave if she didn't please them. She never said she was tired, but she was exhausted. All the time. Not from work, from pretending, Pretending she was okay. Pretending she didn't care what people thought. Pretending she didn't constantly feel like she was falling short. When something went wrong, she blamed herself. When something went right, she brushed it off. Compliments made her uncomfortable. Criticism wrecked her. She compared herself to everyone. Strangers online, co-workers, her best friend, and always came up short. It didn't matter how much she did, it never felt like enough. And deep down, she believed one thing: I am the problem. One morning, Rachel spilled coffee on her shirt while rushing out the door. Nothing major, but it broke her. She sank to the kitchen floor, surrounded by clutter, and started crying. Not because of the coffee, but because she couldn't remember the last time she felt peace. She was always holding her breath, waiting to be better, skinnier, smarter, more successful, more lovable, and she never got there. That morning, she didn't cry over coffee. She cried because she was tired of living in a constant state of self-rejection. She realized, I don't just feel bad sometimes. I genuinely don't like myself. And saying it, even silently, felt like both a betrayal and a relief. Later that night, Rachel called her friend, one of the only people she felt semi-safe with, and blurted it out. I think I hate who I am. Her voice shook. She waited for pity or awkward silence, but her friend said something she didn't expect. Yeah, I felt that too. That one sentence cracked something open. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't broken beyond repair. She was just stuck in a pattern that nobody had ever named out loud before. Change didn't happen overnight. It wasn't some Hollywood makeover montage. Rachel didn't suddenly love herself, but she started noticing the voice in her head, the one always tearing her down. And every now and then, she'd challenge it. She started small, eating real meals, taking short walks without her phone, saying no when she meant it, noticing when she apologized for things that weren't her fault. She downloaded a therapy app. She started writing down compliments, not from others, but things she was learning to say to herself. No fireworks, no magic, just quiet moments of choosing not to abandon herself, again and again, until the small shifts started to stack. And then something strange happened. People noticed, not because she became more productive or better looking or more likable, but because she stopped hiding. Her energy shifted. She was still Rachel, but more grounded, less frantic, a little softer, a little stronger. Rachel's story isn't rare. In fact, it's probably way more common than we think. You don't have to be falling apart to hate yourself. You can be the one who holds everyone else together. You can laugh at parties, hit deadlines, text back fast, and still secretly carry a deep, painful belief. I'm not good enough. That's what makes self-hate so tricky. It wears disguises. It looks like perfectionism, people-pleasing, hustle culture. It hides behind fake confidence and polished routines. But underneath, it's the fear that if people really knew you, they wouldn't stay. That's why I told you Rachel's story. Not to be dramatic, but to help you see. To realize that maybe some of the ways you talk to yourself aren't just being realistic. They're toxic. And they're not your fault, but they are your responsibility to shift. So let's shift together. I'm going to walk you through 7 subtle but powerful signs that you might be turning against yourself without even realizing it. You don't have to relate to all of them. Even just one is worth noticing. Not so you can feel worse, but so you can start doing better. Let's go. Sign number 1. You tear yourself down before anyone else can. You ever catch yourself making jokes at your own expense? You call yourself dumb, lazy, awkward, like it's no big deal. You brush it off with a laugh, like it doesn't hurt. But here's the thing, it does. That voice in your head, the one that picks you apart before you've even finished your morning coffee, that's not honesty, that's conditioning. You've trained yourself to be your own bully, because somewhere along the way it felt safer to say it first before someone else could. This kind of self-talk starts small, A comment here, a thought there. And before you know it, you're living under the weight of your own internal trash talk. It becomes automatic. You screw up? Of course you did. You succeed? Must have been luck. And if anyone tries to compliment you, you deflect, downplay, reject it. Because deep down, you don't believe you deserve it. Tearing yourself down becomes your defense mechanism. But what you're really doing is reinforcing a lie, that you're not enough. And the more you say it, the more your brain believes it. That's not humility. That's self-hate dressed up as keeping it real. Sign number 2, you constantly feel like a burden. You hold back when you're hurting. You shrink yourself in conversations. You over-apologize. Not because you've done something wrong, but because you're afraid of being wrong just by existing. Even in your closest relationships, you tell yourself, they'd be better off if I didn't say anything. So you carry everything alone. You don't want to ruin the vibe, so you smile even when your chest is heavy. But let me ask you something. When your friend comes to you in pain, do you think they're a burden? Or do you listen with care and patience? So why can't you believe someone would do the same for you? This isn't about being strong. It's about believing your emotions don't matter, that your pain is too much for people to handle, that your voice only deserves space if it's cheerful, helpful, or quiet. But you're not a burden. Your needs aren't too much. They're human. And if someone makes you feel otherwise, maybe they're not your people. Sign number 3, you can't rest without guilt. You sit down to relax and your mind won't shut up. You feel lazy, undeserving. You open your phone just for 5 minutes and suddenly it's been 2 hours. And now you hate yourself for wasting time. Even things that are supposed to bring you joy, music, a show, a walk, feel tainted by the feeling that you should be doing something else, something productive, something that proves your worth. This isn't just a time management issue. It's a self-worth issue. You've attached your value to output, and when you stop producing, you feel worthless. This belief that rest is earned, not given, is how burnout becomes a lifestyle. You ignore your body. You ignore your mental health. You ignore your limits, all because you think you have to earn basic care. But let's be clear. You don't have to prove your worth through exhaustion. You don't need to break down to justify a break. Rest isn't something you get when you've bled yourself dry. It's a human need. And the guilt? That's just internalized self-hate telling you you're only valuable when you're working. Sign number 4, you compare yourself to everyone and always lose. Comparison is part of being human, but when it becomes your default setting, it gets toxic. You scroll through social media and feel worse every time. Someone's on vacation, someone's in love, someone got promoted, and somehow that means you're behind. You walk into a room and immediately rank yourself, not out loud, but in your head. Prettier than her, funnier than him, but not as successful, not as confident, not as worthy. And it never ends. Because no matter what you achieve, someone will always seem ahead. And instead of celebrating what you've done, you punish yourself for what you haven't. Comparison turns other people's lives into proof that you're failing. But here's what you forget. You don't know their struggles, their insecurities, their behind-the-scenes breakdowns. You're comparing your lowlights to their highlights and calling it truth. You don't need to be better than anyone. You just need to be real with yourself. Your path is yours. That's enough. Sign number 5, you sabotage your own happiness. Something good happens, and instead of enjoying it, you brace for the crash. You're not used to feeling good, so when it shows up, it feels suspicious. Like joy is a setup and disappointment is just around the corner. You downplay your wins. Push away love. Decline compliments. You tell yourself it's modesty, but really it's fear. Fear that the good things won't last. Fear that you don't deserve them. This is how self-hate sneaks in. It tells you to avoid joy before it hurts you. So you self-sabotage. You procrastinate on your dreams, push people away, create problems where there aren't any. You think you're being realistic, but really, you're depriving yourself of the very thing your soul is starving for: joy, connection, presence, relief. You don't have to earn happiness through suffering. You don't have to brace for impact every time life is good. It's okay to feel joy. It's okay to want more. That's not naive. That's human. Sign number 6. You isolate when you need people the most. When things get dark, instead of reaching out, you disappear. You cancel plans, stop answering texts. You ghost people who love you, not because you don't care, but because you don't want them to see you like this. You think your sadness is contagious, your anxiety is annoying, your pain is too much. So you go quiet, you vanish, and then you beat yourself up for being distant. This is one of the cruelest effects of self-hate. It convinces you that your vulnerability is a burden, that no one wants to hold space for your darkness. But here's the truth. Real connection isn't about showing up perfect. It's about showing up real. People can't love the version of you they never see. So stop waiting until you feel better to reach out. You don't have to be fixed to be loved. Sign number 7. You fear your own potential. You say you want things, a relationship, a career, a creative life, but you hold yourself back. You say, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. I'll fail anyway. You talk yourself out of applying, starting, risking, not because you're lazy, but because you're scared. Scared of being seen, scared of being wrong, scared of getting what you want and then losing it. So you stay small. You call it realistic. You say you're being smart, but really you're just trying to avoid the pain of hope, because hope makes you vulnerable, and vulnerability, when you hate yourself, feels unsafe. You don't fear failure. You fear proving to yourself that you were never good enough to begin with. But that's not truth. That's trauma, and you're allowed to outgrow it. Your potential doesn't have to scare you. It can be an invitation. You're not stuck. You're scared. And that's okay. Just don't let that fear define your life. If even one of these signs felt familiar, good. That means you're paying attention. You're not broken. You're just learning to hear yourself, really hear yourself, for the first time. And that's powerful. Now let's talk about how to change it. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to start treating yourself like someone worth saving, because you are. Let's get into how. Here's the truth. Self-hate doesn't go away because you watched a video or read a quote or journaled one time. It's a pattern, and patterns don't break. They're replaced. You're not going to think positive your way out of years of self-neglect. But what you can do is start small. Choose something different, every day, even once. Not for perfection, for proof that you can. Start by naming that voice in your head, the one that tells you you're not good enough. Call it something. The critic, the drill sergeant, Karen, whatever works. Why? Because when you name it, you separate it from you. You can say, that's not me talking. That's just the old programming. It creates space, and in that space, you get power back. Next, set one boundary with yourself, not with other people, with you. Maybe it's, I don't scroll social media first thing in the morning, or I don't call myself names, even as a joke. It doesn't have to be deep. It just has to be real. Boundaries build self-trust, and self-trust is how self-respect starts to grow. Practice letting good things in without fighting them. If someone compliments you, don't deflect. Just say, thank you. That's it. Let it land. If you feel joy, don't chase it away with, what if? Stay with it. Breathe through it. You're allowed to feel good without feeling guilty. You don't have to wait until you fix yourself to treat yourself kindly. In fact, that's exactly when you need it most. When you feel unworthy. Start asking, what would I do for someone I loved who felt like this? Then do that for yourself. You're not weak for needing care. You're wise for giving it. This work is messy. You'll backslide, you'll forget. You'll hear that mean voice again. And that's okay. That's normal. You don't need to be perfect at healing to deserve progress. What matters is that you keep showing up, even when it's quiet, even when it's hard, even when your brain says it's pointless. You show up anyway. That's how you change a life. This is the beginning, not the solution, but now you've named the problem. You've seen how deep it goes, and that means you've already done something most people never do. You've stopped ignoring it, and that's power. Let's keep going. Okay, pause for a second. Out of the 7 signs we talked about, which one hit the hardest? Was it the guilt when you rest? The way you shut down around people? The fear of actually liking yourself? Drop the number in the comments. Just the number. No explanation needed. You'd be surprised how many people are going through the same thing. And sometimes, seeing others say 2 or 6 or all of them is the first moment you realize you're not alone. This channel, Psych Too Deep, isn't just about information. It's about reflection, connection, and real emotional growth. We keep it honest here. No toxic positivity, no BS. Just conversations that feel like you're finally being heard. If you saw yourself in this video, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might need it, or even someone who thinks they don't. And if you want more videos like this, deeper dives, hard truths, quiet healing, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications if you don't want to miss the next one. We're building something here, something real, something that might just help you rebuild how you see yourself. So take a breath. You made it this far. That means something. Let's close this out together.